Thank you everyone for joining. We are now beginning the Egyptian segment. We have a really great group of readers today, including myself, Matthew Shinoda, Mariam Bazid, Amira Hanafi, Hassan Fahmi, Abdulrahman Al-Gandhi, and Dina El Dasuki. So I will begin by reading a ghazal. This is... Sorry, I'm pulling it up. This is actually Dear England. This isn't the ghazal, I couldn't find it. Dear England, I told a Saidi joke at my grandfather's funeral. Imagine that. A room full of Egyptians mourning and laughing in English, speaking your spill like motor oil silting. We hear you in every word, England. Strung out in the room, gripping a map of Africa with one hand, a butter knife in the other, scraping names, blotting lines. Giddu told me an English soldier killed his father after the occupation. 2 generations later, we are in this room, jowls marred by that same bullet. Your language, always held like heavy rocks in Giddu's mouth, wilted his words into flaps of themselves. He would call me Khoaga, laugh at my weak tongue, and I think of shells splitting cobras. My family from the mouth. And then this is the last one I'll read. It's a ghazal called Khara. I read about some of the museums in France. Artifacts had me lost in my lonesome in France. A strained cultural exchange of speaking, of conquest, one that remains of verse, of echo, just of France. My mother was young when they taught her the language. Like imprints filling in the creases, throating France, a shade of tongue marks becomes something of status, something of luck, drawing sludge for a trace of France. Nile bones and parts freckled across museums. Just as other Europeans, just as France, stories of the French shooting the nose off the Sphinx. Erasure, if not a gesture, spelling French. I didn't speak one word of French in that country. Broken Arabic was my proclamation in France. I spent nights in liquor stores talking with Arabs, trying to tighten my tongue between blunts, between France, drunk driving with one eye open at 17, the driver passing. Hey, mister, at liquor stores. I've learned to love our letters here. The turns of sound. The closest I came to home was liquor stores. Broken cottonwood twigs cleaved between cheeks in liquor stores. Temptations held St. Anthony, like liquor stores. Thank you, folks. Next, we will be sharing a reading from Matthew Shinoda.
It looks like Matthew's video file didn't make it, so we're going to bring up Miriam.
Okay.
Miriam, you can go ahead and turn your camera on and unmute, and you're good to go.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this reading. What I'm reading today is a set of erasure poems that I made at the start of the genocide. It was sort of towards the middle of October 2023, and I was already noticing that it was being denied by Western medias, Western governments, even that early. And I was on a research trip at the time at the University of Iowa, and I printed out at these print-on-demand kiosks these set of texts that they just randomize and give you, and I made erasure poems about the genocide kind of formally as a way of being you can take any scrap of text and see what is happening and tell the story of it. And so that is what I will share, and that is what I will read from today. Thank you again. Can everybody see that? That's working? Yeah. Okay. So the image behind the text is the original erasure, and then I just typed out the text. Hope against hope. before it ends with troops in the streets and the charred bones of buildings. The ruthless images quietly appear from the dark into an evanescent strip of sun. Vigilant. The face is 5 eyes wide in every crowd, impossible to unsee. The dead, the dream life, the yet to be, gazing at you from the other side of time. A family trip. We had been to the moon. We are here in this photograph, the two of us standing on the grass in front of our house. Sister, black buttons, white shirt. Little boy, big sister, smiles, the camera. Children caught in a photo. Dad stopped taking photographs. A great number of monsters about to play on the lawn. Obad. If you swim before the children wake, Folly Beach searching on the far side of this body, our 2 fingers pressed into one another's throats, breathing the names with our softest parts exposed, while morning launches the dragon. Blood thrum and shudder breaths. Beneath muscled bands, hard edge of the jaw, behind the fog, they chose what to report. How many kicks of the vein? The troubles. Here we go, tra-la-la, fixing the house, hammer in hand. The soles of our feet are houses, our sandcastles falling apart behind our ear, ever level. The ants want to eat our home. Our efforts are a hole dug, then the tide comes in, erasing. Some year the work will be done. The sinews aging, pupils large in a flashlight beam. Hold your breath. There's the mallet. We can smash the night into senescence. All comes undone, fragile the shell. Inside, all squeaky compromise. This is the last one I'll read. It's called The Menagerie Machine. The cavalry horses behind us, complete with kicking hooves and a spray of mane, strained, snarling silver eyes, lost hope decayed. To speak of the circumstance that had brought too much power, the memories of ostrich, the machine's 3 miseries, endless cycles during the day, motionlessness at night, and most of all, the cavalry. The complement of their jealousy. Praise break our pattern, darkened to make way for the stars. All else lay still, halted, moonlight like a jewel. Imagine not having any trappings. Someday that song was a lullaby. Other days it was a dirge. Today it lingered in a strange disguise as though in a different key. Chased my voice away, but twice the splendor. The stargazer sure aims high. Only my neck was carved to curve upward. inescapable the crescent moon. I would like to be addressed not by the likes of you. You're so used to your own smell, I said, as tenderly as I wished them to treat me. You don't even notice it, but it's clear to us. We can put up with it for as long as we have to. We'd outlast them, after all. It came softly, an embarrassed sound. They hung their heads with their eyes and for once mouths closed. I wondered if this was peace. No, this was silence and stillness. We'd still keep spinning and stopping, spinning and stopping. Whether we moved or stood still, we went nowhere. My stargazing head lowered, then I spotted it, a small mirror in the shape of a star. The reflection of my eye peered back at me. I was a stargazer indeed. I took advantage of my long neck once more as I turned. Our mirrors reflecting into each other formed an endless straight corridor that led us somewhere beyond the confines of the machine. Freedom in our own night sky, bliss of all bliss. Thank you so much.
A prayer for my people, that one day we will wish to be nothing more than what we are, that we will see within ourselves the liberation of nations, of concrete, that we will understand the inevitability in the lines of our hands. There is a war raging in our backyard, with it my sister's spirit burns. That the fire of my sister's spirit will consume our enemies and burn our streets clean. There's a system of mangled necks whose heads speak with oracle tongues, that we should learn to walk with wounded feet, that our eyes must be liberated from their granite, that our hands reroot themselves from the pools of acid rain. There's a river forming in the bureaucrat's head, its water made from rusted milk, that we may understand this false constructed world and know holy things do not die. Right to return for all of the refugees. The tar brushes earth, signals a hollow calling of a rippling history. Down the stolen streets, grandmother's house still stands, walls cold to the touch of her ghost intruders. Tabla sings a painted catastrophe, lamenting water drops in the groves of this reality. Each tree a depiction of warrior strength made to spiral past into every child's shade. The cobblestone embraces diasporic feet. Ancestral keys hang from travelers' necks, ringing in the swollen feet of return. Summon the sumac, make the earth a za'atar mist, cloud the torture in her blessed scent. Curl the hills towards sunrise, erect her stone foundation, and make her soil to swallow pain. The traveler's feet are shaped by grace, wrapped in the leather of memory. They preserve her almond softness, carried on elder prayers, always for the heart sojourner, uttered toward sea, wished forth like a memorial cloud. O Jerusalem, O Bethlehem, O Nablus on the hill, O Gaza by the sea, O Mogadishu, New Orleans, O Darfur, Aswan, O Asyut, O Toshka, O Accra, O Asmara, O Basra, Berbera, may God calm your loss and eruption, carry your apparition music across seas so that each of your children's ears will return to your call. Stranded in these separation barracks, made wanderers by rule and decree, centuries of nourish made born for economic forage, foreign stepping in a wayward land, we learn to make our beds of distance, sleep on the dream of return, weave each step of the journey so as never to lose our ancestral thread. We trace the orange ether of dusk, climb the open notes, tomorrow's song a tribute to our past. On the tipped wings of a bird gone east, made convex like night, we follow her arc unto the disappeared horizon.
أهلا أنا أميرة حنفي. Hi, I'm Amira Hanafi. I've been working on a book over the past couple of years, an experimental memoir about the body in the revolution. I'm probably be working on this book for another couple of years. I'll be reading a fragment from this work. The fragment is called Citation. When I write, I'm afraid that those to whom I belong will be angry, disappointed, or hurt by the way that they are represented to a particular audience. This anxiety is tied to the fact that I belong to more than one community, and the relationship of power between these communities is not in balance. I feel responsible for paying attention to this imbalance of power when I write. For instance, because I feel that I belong to Muslim people, and Muslim people are often represented in terrifyingly distorted ways, I feel that I must be extremely careful in how I represent Muslims in my writing. It's not that I want to represent my kin accurately or represent them in a good light. It's that I want to keep my kin safe in my representations of them. I don't want to feed the horrifically distorted representations that already exist, which are harmful to the people to whom I belong. At the same time, I don't want to write with this kind of constraint. I want to feel that I am free to create the representations that make the most sense to me, but I don't live in a world where power is balanced in that way. When I weave into my text a quote from Susan Sontag's Regarding the Pain of Others, or from the writings of the military historian Roger J. Spiller, it is a kind of posturing not unlike what the person from my writing group does when she says that my text reminds her of Noel el-Saadawi or of Assia Jabbar, whom she refers to as Egyptian women writers. We are, it seems, interchangeable. I have a page of quotations that grows with my project. One of the epigraphs is something that I read in an interview with my friend from graduate school. He says, I had the opportunity to meet Netherlands-based choreographer Meg Stewart. Once in a critique, she said, "The body is not yours." I think it's important to let go of your body and see what happens. This can be liberating because you can see what your body is capable of. Justin Cabrios. Later, I decide that I want to understand more about the source of this quote. I find a short discourse in Buddhist scripture, which is titled Natum Haka Sutta, It's Not Yours. It has many translations online. I choose the one that I like, Form is not yours, let go of it, and add it to my page of epigraphs. What I like about my friend's interpretation is that he means letting go of the physical body. He is a poet who became a dancer. I stood along his transformation in the time that I knew him. When we last saw each other, we shared an apartment in Chicago where our third roommate was a man with an explosive anger that he unleashed on me one night, driving me into my bedroom where I locked the door. I suddenly moved out. In the Natum Haka Sutta, whatever it is that you must give up is translated as form, consciousness, feelings, perception, and choices. I decide to let go of citations like the suttas of the Buddha. I decide that my citations should belong to those who have given me context in which to live a life whose language I can pronounce in my own mouth. In a bookstore in Tennessee, where I'm writing this text, I find a used copy of Noel El-Saadawi's book, Woman at Point Zero, which I first read more than 20 years ago. I reread the novella within the context of all that has happened since. I place a bookmark about halfway through on a page where Saadawi writes in Sharif Hateta's translation, "Nothing in the streets was capable of scaring me any longer, and the coldest wind could no longer bite into my body. Had my body changed? Had I been transported into another woman's body? And where had my own, my real body gone? I decide to use it as a prompt to write, and this is what I have written. Thank you."
Hi, everyone. I'm very honored to be here. And thank you so much again for Anthony for bringing me along. I'm very honored to be following up my great fellow writers. I'm going to read two poems for you. The first is called The Committed, and it's written after and for Rifat Al-Adir. Allah yarham. When I say a free Palestine in our lifetime, I mean it is your moral duty to believe the last shekel has already been printed, its destiny a glass frame in a museum next to $1, euro, and sterling, all reduced to mere paper, fragile memory, small thing you walk by and might not even notice. When I say a free Palestine in our lifetime, I mean Sinai will disappear into the Naqab again. Gaza, a bus ride of snores and muffled laughter from Cairo. Gaza, where I will buy you fresh mint tea as you slip bread to the street cat tugging at your pant leg. Gaza, 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 never in my days of ceaseless weeping have I pitied you, Ya Gaza, O holy city of survival, graveyard of empire's hubris. No, I pity the settler, that desperate rabid dog chasing his sad little tail. I pity the dupe who believes his feeble attempt to kill you will not kill himself, and he will kill himself, Ya Gaza. He will die unmourned like the Rhodesian and the Pied Noir, inevitably forgotten, a measly footnote in a story where you live, and you will live, stubbornly, you who harnessed the sun when the settler believed a power cut could shutter your light, you, city of divine martyrs, progenitor of the Algerian rifle, the Mau Mau rifle, the Varsha rifle, you mountain of silver bullets tearing the rancid flesh of fascist wolves apart. How can I pity you, Ya Gaza, when your breath is the fire that unmakes the paper tiger into ash? No. I pity the lesser of two evils, the child murderer whose name is destined to be a curse on tongues that carry you. I pity nothing in the land of the Palestinians, only the wretch who would stand against them. Never call poor a people who cannot be bought. Who will you become in the absence of currency? And the second one is a ghazal called The Orpheus. What eyes would watch this world and not look for apocalypse in the smallest of sesame seeds? Look what mockery the settler has made of the Lord's work. Your first mistake was to look for Hades anywhere but in this world. It is we who walk among the dead, we who live in ruin. If you look from the window of a passenger plane above Sinai, you might mistake the devil's work for lightning upon Gaza. Look through the devil's words, curious terms like national and security, the flowery syllables of calamity. Look, I suppose the parasite too has a right to exist, but so does the body that kills it with fire. The martyr never needed debate, only to look towards the horizon yet to be witnessed. The martyr did not witness for posterity, for some searchable archive. The martyr gifted you the look of Medgargas slaying the dragon. The martyr witnessed you making a better world of yourself. Your work begins with the will to witness. Look to the martyr as you would the beloved, the magnet of your compass, the silence you force upon the voice of hell, begging you to look away from the cross, the stone slab, the lion pit, the refugee camp. All that is holy has been bloodied by the hounds of Caesar, but don't look down in defeat. All that is profane is an axe swing away from oblivion. Everywhere you walk is a Mecca to be liberated from the tyranny of idols. Look to the fall of Rome with hope, for Zamzam is a river whose bank is your bed. You, Eurydice, who waits for no savior, no fool who faced with the flare of a black sun would deign to not look. Thank you.
Hey all, this is Abdurrahman Al-Gindi. I'm gonna be reading two poems by two Palestinian poets. The first is by Ala Al-Qaisi. It's titled In Praise of What Is No Longer Ours. This poem is in response to Mahmoud Darwish's Madih al-Dhill al-Ali. In English, it's translated as In Praise of the High Shadow. It is not for me to be or not to be. It is not for me to create or not to create. That choice was taken before I was given a name. Before the sky carved its judgment into our homes. Before the sea forgot its promise, that choice was never mine. What do I want? A homeland. What good has a homeland done for those who have never known its embrace? Have the borders of a map ever shielded a child from the hunger of an endless war? What do I want? A passport? Would a passport stop the earth from swallowing us whole? Would it make the rubble speak the names of those buried beneath it? What do I want? Not a flag. For I have seen flags draped over the bodies of the young, wrapped around them like shrouds. They do not bring the dead back to life. They do not turn the dust into a home. What do I want? Not a newspaper. For I have seen my story printed in the margins of history, erased before it could be written, translated into silence. What do I want? Not police. For the law here is the sound of approaching drones, and the judge is the one who holds the rifle. So leave. But leave to where? The roads are closed. The sea is locked. The sky is a border drawn in fire. You say, leave to yourself. But where is the self when the pieces have been scattered? A body in the north, a father in the south, a home in the past. What is left of me when even my shadow has been burned into the walls? You walked exile like a river, but here, exile is the stillness of a land that has forgotten its own name. You were the master of departure, but we are the prisoners of waiting. You carried the homeland on your back, but here, the homeland is the weight that crushes us beneath it. How vast is the wound, how narrow the breath, how small the grave, how endless the war. I do not write this in praise. I write this because I'm still here, because I'm still here, because I'm still here, and that, Mahmoud, is the only victory I can claim. The second poem is by a modern Palestinian poet, Hiba Abu Nada. It's titled Not Just Passing. Yesterday, a star said to the little light in my heart, we are not just transients, passing. Do not die beneath this glow. Some wanderers go on walking. You were first created out of love, so carry nothing but love to those who are trembling. One day, all gardens sprouted from our names, from what remained of hearts yearning. And since it came of age, this ancient language has taught us how to heal others with our longing, how to be a heavenly scent, to relax their tightening lungs, a welcome sigh, a gasp of oxygen. Softly, we pass over wounds like purposeful gauze, a hint of relief, an aspirin. Oh, little light in me, don't die. Even if all the galaxies of the world close in, oh, little light in me, say, enter my heart in peace. All of you, come in.
أهلا وسهلا اسمي دينا الدسوقي. Hello, my name is Dina Eldasuki, and I am sharing my work with you today from Popelushum, the unceded territories of the Awaswas-speaking Yupi tribe, now in the stewardship of the Amamutsan tribal band, also currently known today as Santa Cruz County, California. And I have 3 pieces that I'd like to read. And yeah, I'll start with one from my chapbook. So it's called A Surfboard Named Fatma. Fatma, you are neon pink, highlighting the brightness of our days. Daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon him. With you, each paddle stroke is a prayer for sick dogs and great whites. Fatma, O sacred vessel, his 99 names stir in your womb, unmarred by my navel, and sands that cling to bare souls and half-naked beachcombers, raisins, and virgin foreheads. Fatma, O holy prayer rug, might I borrow your eyes to see the merciful, the compassionate, in box jelly tentacles and starving seabirds. Fatma, I seek your counsel. Guide me over the waves' puckered lip. Guide me over submerged rocks and churning boils. Guide me through the tunnels of springtime upwelling. Guide me through my struggles. Guide me beyond stillbirths at the barrel's mouth. Guide me into eternity with your sage palm. Fatma, we dance graceful sunhawk dances, cast shadows that resemble sharks beneath us. Fatma, you shine like the moon in all her phases, and like her, I caress your seamless haunches daily. My feet massage your polyurethane marrow. Fatma, when you buckle one day under the weight of our praise, bless our poisoned mother in spite of your own withering bones. Bless us all, that we may atone. So the next one is called El Mutanabbi's Pillars. A dull paper crate locks eyes with me from its fixed position in the photograph of El Mutanabbi Street. Dull, as in pineapple plantations sprouted in Hawaii, retired to Costa Rica. No, not retired yet. Migrant, always on the move, to the next cheapest place. Empire respawns, reliant on fertile crescents to uphold its alabaster pillars, white as refined sugar, crushed from cane, the juice stolen from strong black bones, which are of course not black, but a color we don't have the eyes yet to see. Their marrow wields the machetes that hack the fruit that feeds tourists their Mai Tais and is canned in syrup. Shipped to military bases to feed soldiers, dropped as aid from planes like fallen angels, parachuted down like the sky fucked up, or Mount Olympus did, and crumbled onto the heads of children and women and men instead of seeding watermelon and za'atar in Siti's ageless garden. But I witnessed more than I realized. What the dull crate held, why it stared back. Books, thousands of them, stacked heavy in broad, steadfast pillars that topple but don't hurt anyone when they fall. And the final poem that I will share today has no title. If we should wake from unmarked graves and premature burials, we, souls restless as our scattered bones and stolen skin, and talisman despoiled by greedy men, let our bodies rise intact again, anointed and adorned, to dance lightly on open seas, our wet salt footwork intruding on all the well water that soulless men poisoned with their own suppressed grief. We, freshly cleansed containers, succulent for the inevitable rain. Thank you for including me. Free Palestine.
Sabrine, you're currently muted.
Hi everyone, sorry for that. This is Sabrine. I'll be hosting the segment for Sudan. I want to thank you all for organizing this global reading, and it's an honor to be in this space with all the readers that I've been enjoying so far. For today's Sudan segment, I, Sabrine, will be reading my own poetry. Then we'll be listening to Duhal Mardi, who sent a recording, and after her, Iman Al-Awad, Sarah Lubaid, Mayad Ibrahim, and Tal al-Malik, who are all great poets and readers, will be joining us. So the poem I'm reading is called Dear Friend. I wrote this poem after the last genocide erupted in Sudan, and I was following all my friends who were eloping or fleeing, escaping, being displaced. And unfortunately, I lost contact with my best friend from childhood. Dear friend, I messaged you. I pray you're alive. I think of you often these days.